The newspaper, in regard to this, the editorial is very closely related to the book as a form. The book, the printed book rather, as a form,
he's sending out messages, and he has strategic thinking in terms of the way in which he communicates electronically. Obviously, he's taken it to another level. I wish Neil Postman or Marshall McLuhan were still alive and we could time travel and get their perspective on what's going on today in this Twitter world and technologies and how far we've come in certain respects, but also, being mindful and the concern.
Even the railway train brought in a mobility that ended the old family pattern and created the simple nuclear family. All the uncles and cousins and aunts got on trains and left the old hometown. The nuclear family was left. That family now no longer exists because the tribal grouping of human beings by electronic speed
La la la. Hey. The French from up here. Release the drug in. So when it's time to close your eyes. What the hell?
hometown. The nuclear family was left. That family now no longer exists because the tribal grouping of human beings by electronic speed has taken over a corporate family from the little nuclear family. So the kids today no longer feel limited to their little private families. They now feel part of a very much larger family.
That we should have about, some of this.
Going too far.
These techniques are very What is his voluntary? In other words, you accept this as bugging or feeding.
I don't see any difference between voluntary and voluntary bugging.
I don't see bugging when they say, okay, I'm going to give you 40% and we'll bug you on this case.
I see no difference. What is the difference?
But the bugging is not on television now, but what you're doing at home can be bugged very simply by the same sorts of technology. In other words, the whole network is bugging using the same technology.
Honest to goodness American citizens.
Now that's what I was interested in. I mean, how many thoughts can you cram in your head?
It isn't a question of how many thoughts. The fact is that when you confront the page at that speed, you apprehend it as a gestalt.
Now that I can understand.
And that is a kind of figure ground, and that is depth. And it is a sort of iconology. It is a kind of... Then when you bump one cliche into another, there tends to be a kind of breaking of the carapace, the wrapping, and the cliches gush forth in a world of suggestions and new perceptions. When you take two banal old plots or old melodies, rub them together,
exactly,
and get a whole world of new music and new dramatic insight.
People are afraid of bugging because they think it's involuntary. But they overlook the fact that all the effects of everything that's happening in our world is involuntary.
And it's only when a thing has become obsolete that everybody is sufficiently familiar with it to make it work.
Please hang up and try again.
Steve Lavin, Coach, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Created the public, and Montaigne said, upon recognizing the existence of this new entity, this new environment called the public, he said, I owe the La Publique a complete portrait of myself. With the coming of electric circuitry, you have what is called la masse. It's a time factor. The book created the public because the book was, as a printed form, made possible a very large body of people but not simultaneous. The peculiar dimension of the mass audience is that it's all at once. It's a happening, like telegraph, like the daily paper. The daily paper is a good example of a happening because everything that's in it happens at the same moment. The date line is the only organizing principle in a newspaper. There is no connection between the items otherwise than the date line. And if you take away the date line from any newspaper or whatever, you have a quite handsome surrealist poem. It becomes much more enjoyable if you pull the date line off.
Take off the date line from any newspaper and you have a surrealist poem. Literally, that is, any newspaper minus date line equals surrealist poem. And that's a happening. That's what the happening people have discovered. Really, they have merely projected into the environment the...
It underlines these four principles.
Sculptural approach to the page. Page ceases to be lineal at speed, by the way.
No, I can see that.
Yes, it ceases to be lineal, and you begin to take it as a gestalt.
But surely a reading is half of it is thinking as well as actually.
Remember, we went into that subject. I make most of my discoveries while talking, not while writing.
Well, for example, when I look up the word read and find that it means to guess, I couldn't bear to
Multi-locational
read here
art.
anything I've ever...
That's fascinating.
I have no desire to move into the world that I understand so well.
A reader. For example, the word read, to read, means to guess.